Ukraine war awareness here, getting into the topic of the humanitarian aid bombing in Syria. As most of you may have heard, a UN and Syrian Arab Red Crescent humanitarian aid convoy was struck while delivering aid to Aleppo. Right now we're going to discuss the framework of this operation and who might have possibly done this. There are many conflicting reports about this incident that happened on September 19, 2016. Let's start with the simple conflicting reports. CNN is reporting that the US has reached its preliminary conclusion that Russian warplanes bombed the aid convoy and a warehouse. According to CNN, US officials don't know if it was a Syrian or Russian plane, but they are 100% sure that it was warplanes. Newsweek is also sure that it was an airstrike as stated in their article. However, the video they present is contradicting. The video shows a white helmet man. A white helmet is an organization, by the way, as well, presumably one of the aid workers, and clearly claims that it was a Russian helicopter that came and bombed the convoy.
Today is the 19th September of 2016. At the evening, exactly the evening, 7:30 o'clock, the regime helicopter target this place with 4 barrels. The Urim Civil Defense Center respond to this place in order to ambulance the injuries. But the regime also target this place again. Bombers, aid from the UN to the Syria Crescent in order to be distributed to the people, to the displaced, to the needed. So the regime and Russia target this place and kill the staff of the Syrian Crescent. As you see, medicine on the ground. Syria Crescent, bodies on the ground.
So which one is it? A witness claims helicopters and the US government concluded that it was warplanes without the knowledge of which specific aircraft or which nation flew it. The UN, on the other hand, also with conflicting reports, but says that they are not in a position to determine if they are in fact airstrikes or artillery shellings. The UN does not want to get involved in this political game because the UN would easily be able to ask anyone to provide radar proof, images proof of aircraft. With US bases and warplanes also flying near Aleppo, all aircraft flights are being tracked. Let's briefly get back to November 2015 of the Russian bomber being shot down by Turkish F-16s for a minute. Radar images and videos were released by multiple sides, and during the MH17 incident, radar images and videos were also presented. So why isn't the US State Department providing any if they are already reached a conclusion? On what grounds, what evidence, if they aren't presenting any radar images? Now, we will get to claims of evidence in a minute. First, I would like to mention something about logic, and then I will mention some history behind proved innocent airstrike incidents. As a logical question, why would Russia bomb a UN and Syrian Arab Red Crescent aid convoy? If we look into the many videos that are out there on YouTube, we see that Russia has been working very closely with the Red Crescent for a very long time, covering many parts of Syria. I have even made a compilation back in March showing the Russian military and Red Crescent delivering humanitarian aid to villages and towns that were freshly, call it liberated, call it taken over, regardless, villages and towns that freshly became under Syrian Arab Army, SAA, Assad's forces control. It included towns and cities that were both previously held by multiple moderate opposition factions and ISIS. So why would Russia bomb an organization it closely works with as well as invest money into? I will also be making and uploading a new, more recent Russia-Syria Red Crescent delivery videos compilation that shows the two groups' cooperation and deliveries throughout Syria. Now, one might say that Russia has a history of bombing convoy trucks before, and this is true. Russia previously bombed ISIS and other groups' oil tankers that were about to cross into Turkey by the Syrian-Turkish border, and that was only after weeks of surveillance of those oil tankers, which wasn't, I wouldn't say started, but were more inclined to recon the situation after the Russian bomber downing situation. Videos of these incidents are released by the Russian Ministry of Defense, both the bombings and the surveillance. But there are two differences about those incidents. Firstly, being that they were by the Turkish border and far away from any Syrian army's area of control. And two, well, I mean, how hard is it to mix up an oil tanker and a cargo truck? Meanwhile, this incident happened in Aleppo, where battles have been raging on for a long time there between dozens, and I mean dozens, of FSA groups and the Syrian army. Others, on the other hand, may say this is out of revenge. Russia attacked those oil tankers partly because of the strained relations between Russia and Turkey after the downing of the Russian bomber, and Russia attempting to expose Turkish affiliation with ISIS and groups such as Ahrar al-Sham and the Fatah Halab coalition. Why revenge? Because on September 17th, the US admitted, surprisingly, that they have indeed conducted an airstrike on the Syrian army in the Deir el-Zor region last week, which killed 62 Syrian troops and wounded over 130. The US claims that they believed they were targeting ISIS, while Russia claims that this actually opened a pathway for an ISIS offensive. Syria claims that this was an intentional strike, as this is the second time the US bombed Syrian troops. The first time being on December 6, 2015, where 3 Syrian troops died and 13 were wounded in the same exact province, Deir el-Zor. Both times of December 2015 and September 2016, the airstrikes were carried out by both US and British planes. The first incident, Washington blamed Russia for the airstrikes, which, again, why would Russia bomb its own allied forces? Another situation that's worth mentioning is that on August 1st, 2016, a Russian Mi-8 helicopter was shot down during a humanitarian aid mission to Aleppo. Some people in the media had questions such as, oh, why does Russia need unguided rocket pods on their helicopters for delivering humanitarian aid? Well, besides the reasons of August 1st, there are again videos uploaded showing the very same helicopters with missile pods delivering humanitarian aid. It would be more resource and time consuming to constantly remove and add the pods and whatnot, you know? So yeah, friendly fire situations happen. The blame game happens a lot more. But who truly benefits from this, mostly committing such an act? Certainly not Russia. Russia and the US have just agreed on a new ceasefire between the Syrian army and the moderate opposition, which I personally considered a positive step forward in the Russian-US coordination and diplomatic negotiation. Now the ceasefire is on the brink of collapse, but the Syrian army needed the ceasefire more than the moderate opposition groups, because the SAA need time to repair their equipment and to resupply themselves from multiple failed battles, while the opposition have brand new supplies delivered to them by Saudi Arabia through Turkey. So who does benefit from this situation? Well, certainly Saudi Arabia does. The Russian government claims that there was a battle occurring in Aleppo. Despite the ceasefire, even though it was fragile to begin with, many moderate groups, even the rebranded al-Nusra, have declined the ceasefire, meaning they rejected the ceasefire. They didn't want anything to be part of the ceasefire, as it wasn't in their benefit. And as we know, Saudi Arabia is a huge ally to the United States and is a huge partner with these moderate opposition groups. Russia also claims that there are no airstrike craters and damages on the field that would have been more destructive in that case, So, in conclusion, with all these contradicting reports, it is vital to see what both sides of the table have to say about this situation, as well as dig for primary sources. So who truly bombed the aid convoy? It's really hard to say, considering that Fatah Halab alone, otherwise known as the Army of Conquest, consists of 19-group coalition, along with many other moderate groups numbering in the dozens, and I mean dozens. But what I can say is that we should not jump to conclusions and point fingers right away as the US concluded until more evidence is released. If it ever will be released, that is. Russia has released a video that shows what they claim a mechanical, which is a pickup truck with a large caliber machine gun, or as the Russians call them, a jihad mobile, I find that hilarious, driving past the convoy. Obviously, we don't know the date stamp or anything about it, but Russia also claims that al-Nusra has connections with the White Helmets aid group, and that the UN trucks came from Turkey. This is all speculation at the moment, but what I will say is that we should do what the UN is saying and not rule out that it was a possible shelling against the convoy. We might never know the truth, but we should watch out on the ground over who benefits from this as a cause and effect type situation within the near future. But I can say it straightforward that Russia certainly won't be benefiting from this, and at the same time they aren't stupid enough to cause revenge strikes against their allied organizations. If Ukraine War Awareness does eventually find out and analyzes more the situation and who the culprit is, I will keep you guys up to date. I will release that new compilation videos of humanitarian aid deliveries. Stay tuned for that. And as soon as I get more information, relevant information, important information, I will keep you guys up to date. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to this channel to be informed. Let me know who you think is responsible for this and for what reasons down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video.